All right, everyone, welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for December 5th through the 11th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, everyone, so this week I'm going to try something a bit different. Instead of doing the weeklies in 12 different videos, I'm going to do them all in one. All right, so I'm going to start this reading talking about the aspects that we've all got collectively this week and talk about that as a general energy. And then after that, I'm going to go one by one through all the signs. All right, talk about which houses these are involved with, what rulers are involved with these aspects, etc. So for the first, I don't know how long it'll take, maybe 5 minutes of the reading, we'll talk about the general energies. And then after that, go down to the description or go down to the comment section where you'll be able to see a list of all the different signs with the number, with the timestamp of where in the video it is. You just click the timestamp. It'll take you straight to your signs video. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here this week. As you can see, first of all, there's a lot of easy aspects. It is an easy week collectively. Of course, our personal charts do depend on that the most. But yeah, right at the beginning here, we do have Venus, first of all, going into Capricorn. All right, so there's certainly a shift to our values kicking off this week. I think when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our values, we'll probably be a bit more reserved. You know, Capricorn is about responsibility, right? So I think generally it's a great time over these next few weeks to be responsible, so to speak, with relationships, to be responsible with our values, such as our finances, our material stuff. And as a result, I think we'll find that, yes, we can be building perhaps some long-term values here, long-term relationships with commitment, with discipline, with patience, all this grounded energy of Capricorn. You know, this week we are going to be in the first quarter phase, so things do start off where it is good to challenge ourselves this first half of the week. And then as things go on, I think we'll notice a bit of momentum. All right, it's the classic example of, it does take a bit of initiation to get some wheels turning. And about a week ago, there were some new insights. That was the new moon, or maybe quite literally some new things in our life. So it's a week of putting that forward. And I think the first half, initiating that, challenging ourselves to do that. But then as things move forward, we enter the gibbous phase, which is much more supportive and harmonious. And it usually feels like a bit of momentum that we're building from the, in this case, earlier part of the week. All right, so with that shift with Venus, we are going to have Mars sextiling up to Uranus here Tuesday and Wednesday, suggesting a bit of freedom, actually. So this can be freedom of action, feeling perhaps independent, maybe feeling like motivated, right? Maybe to mix some things up. This has been Mars in Capricorn where he's exalted, so there is this, I think, has been this willingness to take things slow when going about our personal needs, when going about our goals and the things we want in life. So that's still good, but with a sextile from Uranus, maybe there's some sort of new opportunity. Again, we'll see which house this is associated for you personally, but maybe some sort of opportunity, maybe something new and different coming into the mix this first half that can either be exciting or motivating. And with the sextile, it's just a sort of opening. It's not a given, but with that door opening, I think walking through that door can be perhaps fruitful, or at least exciting, or again, motivating. All right, so that's the first few days there. Then as we get into Thursday, Mercury does trine up to the North Node. So I think there's a lot to learn this middle part of the week, and I think a lot of it is about that self-expression. The North Node collectively for everyone's been in Leo, so we're all learning more about this new type of self-expression. All right, the importance of playfulness, lightheartedness in our life, entertainment, fun. All right, it's the time collectively to be expressing ourselves, to be going into this more lighter side to life. So it can be a great middle part of the week for that. Mercury has been in Sagittarius, emphasizing this open-mindedness that we've got. So it's still an excellent time for philosophy, spiritual studies, maybe a bit of adventure. And I think maybe just mixing up that routine a bit. In fact, a bit later in the week here around Friday and Saturday, Mercury sextiles Neptune. So this can be a bit of flow, a bit of imagination. Again, open-mindedness, seeing potential, seeing opportunities. And there's just this sort of, easygoingness about it as well. Now, along with that, though, this the second half here around Friday and Saturday, the sun will be going over Saturn. And what's interesting is Saturn has recently gone up to the sextile with Jupiter. You can see there's a lot of sextiles. So this week being an easy week, it's not like a bunch of trines where, it'll just kind of sort of happen. The easy things will happen. This is like opportunities or doors opening are presenting themselves. Okay. And so initiation is really important. Again, that goes back to the first quarter phase. Initiation, walking through those doors, being aware of the opportunities. If you're feeling a bit inspired, or whatever it is, a bit excited, a bit motivated, use it. Use the energy. And then you'll find that it is moving some of this stuff forward, and those opportunities could turn into things, or they, again, could just be enjoyable in their nature. So that's the sextile energy. Now, the sun over Saturn here, particularly around Saturday, does suggest this new beginning with disciplined self-expression. Now, this aspect is inherently neutral, but of course, Saturn is about the more grounded, mature approach, very much like that Capricorn energy we're talking about. So it's a lot of that Capricorn this week. With the sun, this is where it's important to throttle back a bit the short-term enjoyments. Okay, I think we will want to do that to some level with the conjunction. We'll maybe be feeling a bit throttled back with our self-expression. Maybe feeling a bit throttled back with whatever it is we're focused on. But that can be a good thing because Saturn shows us, in this case, that we can be focused on things and enjoying things for the long term. All right, for the long term, not just the short term, gratification there. So with that perspective over the weekend, I think it's really good to have patience, to throttle back whatever feels natural, feels comfortable, is starting a new chapter with disciplined self-expression, disciplined focus. So it can be real, it can be long lasting, and we can build it one step at a time. So that's the conjunction. It's all in a fucus. So this has been the fact that Saturn's been helping us build only the things that matter to us in life. All right, with the sun in this deeper part of the sky, it has been very important for us to be focused on what really matters. But of course, in order to do that, it does require going deep. It does require being aware of any weaknesses we might personally have, or vulnerabilities, or fears. Okay, these things that we've normally brushed under the rug in the past, that now, when the sun comes into Scorpio and a fucus, it really brings that to the forefront for us to accept them, to be aware of them, to be aware of the fears, the vulnerabilities of life, of ourselves, but of life fundamentally. So as we do that acceptance, which is what a fucus is all about, we heal, we transform. Okay, so this weekend can be a very healing weekend. Again, it's about doing the work, which is Saturn, doing the healing work. All right, limiting that self-expression and seeing that, yes, we can be building this deeper connection, these more meaningful things in our life, but it does take time. All right, so along with that, of course, the sun will be sextiling Jupiter because of, again, Saturn sextiling Jupiter. So again, more opportunities here. Again, opportunity, just something opening up, maybe just a feeling, maybe something in the outside external environment. But whatever it is, it can be giving us a bit of inspiration and seeing a bit of potentials. All right, and then as we go into Monday, we do have the sun trining up to Uranus. So I think going into next week can be quite freeing, at the same time quite healing. I'll talk about this more next week, but Sunday could be emphasizing that. And then Mars starts to go into Aquarius next week as well. So there's this shift from the motivation being reserved, which is Capricorn, into now motivation being more about freedom. Okay, so there's definitely this Aquarius, this freedom-based sort of energy this first half. And so we could be feeling that shift on Sunday. All right, good for, again, thinking outside the box, doing new and different things. And all in all, just being our true selves, being ourselves. And that can be very, very freeing. All right, so that is the week in a general picture. Again, just to recap, a lot of sextiles, which means a lot of it will be up to us individually in terms of how we utilize it, but it can be easy. There can be a bit of flow with all these. The first quarter, these first few days, yes, maybe challenging ourselves to do that, maybe initiating, taking some steps, which might be uncomfortable to do, possibly. But the more we challenge ourselves, we move that stuff forward, the more momentum we've got as we go through the rest of the week, which is the gibbous phase, the supportive time period where, again, that momentum is built. And then I think the most important thing is over the weekend, that conjunction with Saturn, building this new sense of self-expression, this new focus that's real and grounded and raw and deep, which is Saturn in a fucus. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this for Aries. So if you want to go ahead and click the timestamp below for your sign, you can go straight to your sign's video. But for Aries, let's go ahead and have a look here at what's going on for you. So let me go ahead and pull up this chart. Okay, so there's your chart, Aries. It's basically the same thing because I was setting it to Aries for that general. But what you've got here is you've got, first of all, your ruler Mars this week, very much in Capricorn. So your ruler's exalted. You know, it's still a really good time, I think, to be putting that motivation or energy, whatever the level is for you personally, because again, your personal chart's going to depend so much on this. But, you know, that motivation, that energy there into your career and your productive life. All right, anything that is big picture, that's where the fuel is, that's where things are taking you. That new moon was in your 8th house, and things are still very much about the 8th house for you, which is about what truly matters most. It's about getting deep right now. It's about getting vulnerable. And the more you're focused on these deeper dimensions, the more you are willing to transform, break some patterns, do some healing. It's giving you life force. It's giving you energy. And this is what Saturn's been helping you do for about the past year and a half now. Right? Help you build these things that truly matter in life. But with the sun here, it's shining that focus on everything that, again, normally is behind the scenes or under the rug within you. That as you do the acceptance, again, it transforms and heals you. So that's the whole lunar cycle of that 8th house of yours. Good to challenge yourself with that the first half of the week. Second half, probably a bit of momentum with that. Now, Venus going into Capricorn. Not only is Mars in Capricorn this week, now you got Venus. So maybe some relationships in the career front. Maybe some new values you're deriving from your career or productive life. Okay, maybe finances as well. Good time to attract things to you when it comes to career. Good time for relationships there. All right, that's giving a bit of harmony. Your ruler sextiles up to Uranus Tuesday and Wednesday. So with that freedom I was talking about, this is, I think, especially going to be emphasized for you Tuesday and Wednesday time. All right, this is maybe thinking outside the box, doing something new and different. It could be relaxing. It's quite possible. Uranus in the 12th house. So maybe getting some R&R. That's been very freeing for you. But it could also be opportunities at work, with your career, with yourself, with your goals, with your ambitions. It's very fundamentally about you. It's just an opening for that, but certainly there. Mars is also the ruler of your 8th. So maybe an opportunity to get deep, get raw, get real. But it's a positive thing. And it's very freeing in that regard. All right, and then Thursday, Mercury trines the North Node. Again, an emphasis that this whole life path for you is about self-expression, which is your 5th house of Leo. Okay, so great middle part of the week to do just that. Express yourself, playfulness, lightheartedness. You know, your Mercury in the 9th is helping you see all these possibilities, or just helping you tap into that adventurous spirit with your mind. You know, open-mindedness, really good time for philosophy, spirituality, those types of matters. And also, too, when it comes to not only how you're thinking, but your routine as well. Maybe even mixing up that routine, continuing to, so that it's open. I don't know. Maybe it has more to do with possibilities that you're building in a routine. Maybe it's about going for walks, hikes, or, you know, doing that kind of thing with the routine and the health. Okay, that could be very exciting with the 9th house. All right, so Friday and Saturday, that conjunction with Saturn and the Sun is going to be that new beginning again, with the depth, with the importance of what really matters most to you in life. And again, taking that stuff seriously and throttling that self-expression. You know, taking that disciplined approach Friday and Saturday with the self-expression. Patience, this is the long-term cycle. It's a yearly cycle. Okay, but about 6 months from now, a lot of the new things you do start with this more serious stuff that is deeper, that is raw, that is real. So for some of you, it might have to do with shared resources. Okay, so healthy interdependency. All right, relying on others in a healthy way. Maybe some of you removing yourself from debts or unhealthy bonds, unhealthy attachments. All right, these kinds of things. All right, is also the case. 8th house is also shared resources. So it's about doing the disciplined thing, the right thing, the grounded thing. Often we know what that is. So if there's anything in particular, moving that forward. Again, the sextile to Jupiter means you can be seeing there's some potentials with this. Might have to do with your work and your routine. Again, that's been a very positive area for you with Jupiter in the 6th. And then Mercury sextiling up to Neptune. Yes, a bit of flow there with the mind, with the imagination. Could have pretty good imagination Friday and Saturday time. And then the routine's probably quite flowing as well, at least an opening for that. Maybe the work life, the day-to-day work. And for some of you, maybe some opportunities with work, because Jupiter in the sixth house often symbolizes that. All right, and then as we get into Monday of next week, Mars will be going into your 11th, so things will be shifting. You may feel this on Sunday, towards the aspirations. All right, what are those aspirations of yours? You know, those things you aspire for, your hopes, your wishes, future things. Great for motivation, great for drive, which will be that ruler there. And then the sun trining up to Uranus going into Monday, maybe feeling quite expressive, thinking outside the box, doing something new and different is also great as well. Just like probably the first half of the week, in fact. All right, so Aries, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions, and we're going to go ahead and switch to Taurus. All right, Taurus. So this week, let's go ahead and have a look, see what's going on in your chart. So there's your chart. This week, you know, this is again a continuation of the new moon a week ago. So this had to do with relationships for you. New beginning with relationships about a week or two ago. And so this is a great place to continue to focus your attention. All right, this is your sun in the 7th house, giving you life force, giving you prana, energy, when you're focused on building those partnerships or just cooperating, just working with others, maybe focusing on others' needs. And Saturn here has been helping you take all this very seriously this past year and a half. So there's a new chapter with responsibility, maybe responsibility with relationships or patience with relationships, or a bit of discipline there. Okay, so that's going to be the conjunction a bit later in the week. But when things kick off this week, you know, Venus is going into Capricorn. So there's definitely a shift where this week there's more of an expansive and probably adventurous spirit. You've already sort of had that because you've had Mars in your 9th, but Venus is, of course, your ruler. So this is really putting an emphasis on the 9th house. And it has been more deeper. And still kind of is because you still got Mercury in the 8th. All right, but the ruler coming out of the 8th, if you've been feeling like the past few weeks have been more about, you know, the deep stuff, the vulnerabilities, the weaknesses, the acceptance of them, which is then about healing and transformation and all that good stuff that comes as a result, you're sort of transformed in a way. There's still a lot of that deeper stuff with the mind, which is Mercury, but with Venus, I think feeling quite adventurous. Some of you might be doing philosophy, spirituality, maybe with the routine, maybe going for walks or runs or hikes, getting outdoors. You know, this is a bit more of the open horizons here, if that's the case. All right, but in either case, yes, adventurous spirit, really positive. Things that do involve philosophy, open-mindedness, very positive. University studies, things like that. All right, so that's the shift right at the beginning. Tuesday and Wednesday, the Mars sextiling up to Uranus does suggest that, again, there might be some opening to do something new and different. Again, it might have to do with the adventurous stuff. Mars does rule your 7th house of relationships, so maybe some new things there. Maybe something new and different or exciting Tuesday and Wednesday with those one-to-one connections. It's certainly possible. All right, and you could maybe even find that easy going because Mars does rule your 12th house as well. On Thursday, Mercury trining up to the North Node does suggest that, again, your whole life path right now is taking you into your roots. It's a really good time to be focused on your health, focused on your home location, establishing yourself perhaps, maybe about family, getting in contact with family, reflecting on things more about where you come from, who you are based on your past, stuff like that. So a very good middle part of the week for that. You know, Mercury here, maybe learning about all this, and again, how to incorporate what this deeper stuff is that you're actually thinking about or involved with. Some of you might be doing research and all that too, but that's directly supporting this life path direction, taking you into this establishment of your roots. Now, Friday and Saturday, the sun conjoining up to Saturn, like I was talking about, a new chapter with relationships, particularly discipline with relationships and patience there, persistence there. Also, too, you know, the sun does rule your 4th house. So also a new chapter, I think, about building maybe something having to do with home or location or family or your health. So take that stuff seriously. Take the relationship stuff seriously. You know, not too seriously, obviously, but, you know, for the long term, this is the long-term path here we're talking about. and with the home stuff as well, or the roots, family, health even. Taking that seriously really sets the stage for that new chapter. And then, of course, the sextile up to Jupiter is in harmony to that, helping you see that, yes, it's a great time to be expressing yourself. You should have plenty of opportunities to express yourself, in fact, whether it's creative, a medium, or just quite literally. And so that's a positive support as well. All right, let's see here. Mercury, yep, Mercury sextiles Neptune. A bit of flow there over the weekends, maybe about the deeper stuff. Again, it's about, Mercury is very well aspected. So I think it's easy this week relative to maybe before of having that openness, that trust, that vulnerability, relying on others, trusting others even when it comes to relationships. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell. Taurus, then going into Monday, Mars is going to go into your 10th house. So next week, you'll probably notice an emphasis on the career stuff or the productive things, maybe being motivating. The sun trining up to Uranus going into next week does suggest maybe a bit more harmony and freedom there when it comes to your self-expression, but also your relationships. Okay, the 7th house. All right, definitely emphasis there with the relationships, supporting that going into Monday. But this week, I would say certainly a continuation of those one-to-one connections, a new chapter with discipline there, patience, a shift from what was a more deeper time, and still kind of is, but this is your ruler in the 8th, now transformed, going into the 9th. I think it's a great time for philosophy, spirituality, and just all in all, just expanding your horizons. Whether you're doing that, internally, such as the reading and learning, or you're doing that externally through the adventurous side of things. All right, Taurus, I hope you enjoyed this. Do let me know if you have any questions, and we're going to go ahead and shift to Gemini. Have a great week. All right, Geminis. So let's go ahead and have a look and see what we've got this week. Okay, so like I was saying in the general, we started about a week ago, depending on when you're watching this, we had a new moon. That new moon was in your 6th house. Okay, so it has been and is a really good time this week to challenge yourself with the routine and the day-to-day work. All right, I think Saturn's been helping you take this stuff seriously for about the past year and a half. So hopefully you have been, and that's good. And it's an excellent week to do that. Take seriously the diet, take seriously the regimens, the work, developing your craft, focusing on perhaps your self-improvement, things like that. Finding solutions to problems, that's also 6th house. So that's the new moon. So I think challenge yourself with that the first half of the week and even the second half, because then the sun does go over Saturn there. Again, starting that new beginning there, as there has been, but another new beginning with self-improvement, work, all that stuff that we need to take care of so we have a good foundation in our life, right? And things can be in their highest expression, achieving, striving towards perfection or striving towards, making things refined. All right, so that's going to be a big emphasis. Your ruler Mercury is in the 7th house this week, has recently shifted in here last week, I believe. So things are still good for relationships, great for cooperation, harmony, working with others. Pluto here has been helping you strip away any fears, any inhibitions that have been preventing you from, and this has been over many years, preventing you from connecting in relationships on a deeper level, but still great to do that. All right, especially Venus in the 8th, which is about that, relationships in the 8th, suggests that this week you probably will be noticing this deeper aspect to relationships if you haven't already. And that's about the openness, that's about the vulnerability, right? That's about trusting in the relationship as well. Maybe even getting into a bit of the shared resources, all right? Sharing with others if there's anything like that, right? That's another type of relying on others that does take trust and all of that. So that's Venus shifting into there. Venus does rule your 5th house, so you'll probably notice your self-expression is actually quite meaningful or quite deep, which is good, or quite vulnerable. All right, that's a good way of working with it as well. So this early part of the week, along with that Venus shift, and again, this whole first quarter phase of challenging yourself there with that routine, Mars is going to be sextiling up to Uranus. So yeah, that bit of excitement, something new and different, I think for you is about this deeper dimension of life. All right, the openness there with yourself primarily. This is what it's all about. Could be healing, could be transformation, could be research, psychology, spirituality even. All of this type of stuff, very good to maybe do something new, something different. And something, also might have to do with shared resources, relying on others, again, or others' finances, others' money. Maybe a new opportunity there with that. It's quite possible. All right, so doors opening there. And I think it could be facilitating maybe some of that career stuff, which has been Uranus, helping you have more freedom in your career. All right, so do be aware of that. Thursday, your ruler does trine up to the North Node. So this is good for learning, particularly because it's your ruler, it's Mercury, but your North Node's been in your third house, making this such an excellent time to be learning anyways. Reading books, writing, sharing, communicating, maybe getting in contact with your siblings this week. Could be a supportive thing, especially with Mercury in the third. And then maybe some of that, maybe even, the relationships just in general. I think just continuing to learn about those as well. All right, Friday and Saturday, there's that conjunction between the Sun and Saturn in the 6th. Again, great for that discipline with the new chapter of your routine, your health, your diet, your regimens. There's a sextile with Jupiter with all of that, which the things maybe relating to your home, family, and your health could be very supportive to these new beginnings. Okay, so know that this is where the opportunities are. You got the opportunities with the home, with location, with family, with reflecting on your past a bit. So utilize that this week with Jupiter in that sextile. And then Mercury sextiles up to Neptune Friday and Saturday. So there is a bit of flow, but just with you in general. Maybe with relationships as well. And some of it could be a bit adventurous or expansive, something new and different there. Just an opening for that. And then as we get into Sunday and Monday, Mars does start to go into your 9th house. So although still, there's a lot to connect to on a deep level going into next week, you'll probably be more motivated to expand a bit, maybe get a bit adventurous or learn some things, open your mind about things, philosophy, spirituality, theoretical stuff. Could be motivating. And then the Sun does trine up to Uranus going into next week as well, giving more positive support and a bit of flow there for that routine. All right. So Gemini, the way I would sum this up is generally still a great time. 2 key areas, really. One is the 6th house of the routine. Very good there. Take that stuff seriously. The second is relationships. This is a bit easier, although still deep as it has been for many years, transforming, releasing attachments, changing past patterns. Still important. That'll be more emphasized going into the coming weeks. But yeah, your ruler in the 7th, great for cooperation. There's certainly easy flow with that. Great for learning from others, learning with others, sharing ideas. Again, that's all part of the 3rd house. All right, so those are the 2 key areas. And of course, your 8th house being emphasized, that the fact that you could be enjoying maybe a bit of the openness and depth and vulnerability in life and the positive things that come from that, both personally within ourselves, with relationships, and just in general. All right, Gemini, so have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching. Do let me know if you have any questions down below, and I'll talk to you next week. All right, Cancer. So let's go ahead and have a look here at your chart. See what's going on this week in regards to these easy aspects that we've got. So the first thing is that, yes, we'll be in the first quarter phase coming into the week. So again, because it's involving your ruler of the moon, it does mean that, yes, as there is throughout the cycle of the moon, there are times to initiate, there's times to challenge ourselves. And I think the first half of the week will particularly be emphasizing that for you guys, as it always is, of particularly whatever new came to you last week. Okay, you had the new moon in your 5th house. And I think a lot of that may have had to do with you expressing yourself. So maybe challenging yourself this week to express yourself. And this has been a more serious area because you've had Saturn in your 5th. So over the past year and a half, if you have been feeling a bit throttled back with the self-expression, if you have been feeling like maybe something that you're creating or a project or something that you're expressing yourself through or something like that is taking time, that's very positive. Saturn here is making sure that it's done right, it's done grounded, and for the long term. So that's going to be particularly emphasized with the sun going over Saturn the second half of the week, but all week long, I would say very good to challenge yourself there with the self-expression, to think in the long term, and continue to focus on having fun, playfulness, entertainment. Even though it may have that serious connotation, that's what the fifth house is all about. Or maybe it's about focusing on the things that are close to your heart. What is close to your heart? And cultivating those things as well. So that's the lunar cycle and that new moon. Now on Tuesday, Venus going into Capricorn is your seventh house of relationships. So you could be finding that maybe you are connecting a bit more this week and for the coming weeks with those relationships in your life, maybe new ones. It's quite possible, maybe friends even, because Venus does rule your 11th, maybe your network circles, and maybe even family as well. Venus does rule your fourth house, so maybe establishing some family relationships also. Tuesday and Wednesday, Mars sextiles up to Uranus. And this is going to be a Mars still in your seventh, so that's positive. Maybe something new and different with relationships, something exciting. It's quite possible. Maybe adventurous. All right, Mars is also the fifth house ruler, so I think your self-expression will be flowing this week, particularly Tuesday and Wednesday. Even though you can be challenging yourself, there is this support with that. All right, and again, it's about you being who you are. Which is Uranus, the freedom of all that. I think that can come easy if you choose to walk through that door. And then Mars does rule your 10th house of career, so maybe something new and different there on the career front. It's quite possible. On Thursday, Mercury will be trining up to the North Node. And so this is emphasizing that this whole year and even next year has been helping you really establish your self-reliance. North Node in the second house. This is about maybe learning about it, learning about finances, learning about investments, things like this, so you can build your nest egg, or you can rely, have more self-reliance, so you can enjoy the simple pleasures of life, and have good material security. So very good for that, as it always has been. But yeah, a trine for Mercury, maybe you're learning a bit about that, which then could be supportive towards those new things. Friday and Saturday is that conjunction with the Sun and Saturn in the fifth. Again, this new chapter with your self-expression and discipline self-expression. And maybe even a greater focus on relationships, maybe a new chapter on relationships, since you have all the seventh house energy, but the Saturn also rules the seventh. Okay. And even a new chapter, I think, with the finances. Take that stuff seriously. The Sun rules your second. So this Friday and Saturday time, maybe something new about the long road, about the future road, with finances or with investments, or just all in all with your inner sense of self-worth, self-reliance. All right, taking that seriously. The sextile to Jupiter can give you a bit of expansion with that, a bit of opportunity, quite possibly. And the opportunity has been for you to be learning right now. It's just such a good time to be learning in general. Maybe it's with books, maybe it's with courses, maybe it's just simply with others. Some of you might be might be involved with business or trading or something like that, the marketplace. And so that's the expansion there for you. Mercury sextiles Neptune Friday and Saturday. This is Mercury in your sixth, actually. So I think your mind is on, and can be on, your routine and your work, which can be a positive force. I think with Mercury in harmonious aspect this week, that can certainly be the case. And Mercury also rules your 12th. So maybe there's a bit of flow about the routine, or there has been, or it's been about maybe spiritual exercises, spiritual activities could be the case. Or again, maybe you're just learning more or communicating more, or just busier maybe even too with the routine lately. So again, maybe a bit of flow with that towards the second half. All right, so that's all the aspects this week. As we get into Monday of next week, Mars will go into your 8th. So I think that'll put more of a motivation from relationships into the deeper side of life, which I'll talk about next week. The Sun does trine up to Uranus, so there is a bit of freedom going into next week again about the self-expression. I think whatever it is you're building, or you're limiting with yourself, or you're starting something new internally with your self-expression, next week, I think you'll notice it being quite freeing as a result. Now, again, the Sun's already very well aspected here, but there could be some something new and different next week which I'll also talk about. All right, Cancer, so the way I would sum this up for you is the first quarter phase at the beginning. Good to challenge yourself with that self-expression, but all week long, really. Whether it's your hobbies, whether it's creative projects, or anything close to your heart. Or just simply expressing yourself, right? Just taking that disciplined approach. The long-term approach is very, very good this week. But I think as the week unfolds, you'll probably feel a bit of momentum building with your ruler in the gibbous phase, which is in harmony to the sun there, a bit of support. And then, of course, there is an emphasis on relationships with Venus going into the 7th. Could be enjoying them. Mercury's in the 6th. Could be learning a lot about the routine, or about the work, or maybe just getting things done there, taking care of business. Could be supportive as well. All right, Cancers, have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. All right, Leos. So let's go ahead and have a look here, Leo. What's going on this week? So the first thing that we can look at is your sun, your ruler, the sun, who's down here at the bottom of the chart. So right now, it's a really good time to be focused on your home life, your family life, and maybe even your health. And this has been an area that I think you can be taking seriously, which has been Saturn in the 4th over the past year and a half, roughly. And with the sun going over Saturn, yeah, it's a new chapter with, I think, your home life or your family life or even your health. But it's the long-term chapter. It's a yearly chapter because it's the sun. It's a yearly cycle. But with Saturn, things come in time. So anything you can do this week to take the responsible approach or the patient approach to your roots, to your health, things like that, very, very positive there. And I think as a result, yes, over the coming weeks and months, you can see that what you're building here with those things is coming to fruition, one step at a time. Along with that, we will be in, of course, the third quarter phase. So it's just all in all a good week to challenge yourself in general with 4th house matters, of course. And as the week unfolds, yeah, probably a bit of support there and probably things moving forward, a bit of momentum there maybe with that. And the thing is too, with the sun at the bottom, the sometimes energy levels can be at a low, or the focus, it's more reserved, it's more intuitive. Okay, so as you shift your focus to your intuition, as you shift it towards your home or your family or reflecting on things, you're going to find that's what gives you life force, gives you prana, as well as helps you continue those new beginnings there. All right, so that's the lunar cycle and your ruler. On Tuesday, Venus is going to be going into your 6th. So there is going to be this shift into enjoying perhaps a bit of the routine or the work, or maybe even to connecting with relationships there on the everyday work. It's quite possible for some of you. Your career, I think, is going to be going through this improvement. I think you'll be improving your career, your productive life, and merging the two. That's very good. You're going to also notice too that you may even be using your mind or learning more about your work, learning more about your career, or maybe just exchanging more. It just might be busier because Venus rules your 3rd. 3rd going into the 6th can often mean a lot of correspondence, a lot of communication, learning, things like that. Okay, but in either case, Venus being a benefic can help you see the value of your work and enjoy that work as well. All right, Tuesday and Wednesday, Mars does sextile up to Uranus. So something maybe new and different with the work, in fact, this first half. It's definitely quite possible. And this has been in regards to what can be this week still a motivating time for you to maybe get in good routine, good regimens and time management, energy management, things like this. And maybe do some things that do require initiation in your work. And the sextile from Uranus, yeah, give maybe something new and different there. Maybe something about what's real and raw and true to you personally, which is Uranus in the 8th, helping you find the freedom of being who you truly are, just being who you are. But but in order to do that, of course, we have to get through all the layers, all the fears, all the inhibitions and things that prevent us from connecting to that. But I think that'll be easy this week, easier, relatively speaking, with these easy aspects. So bringing in a bit of the depth, the openness, the vulnerability with yourself into your life, into your work, into your routine can be quite freeing as well. maybe even into the home life. Mars does rule that fourth house of yours, in fact, too. And it's also a good time, as it has been, to be maybe improving the home life. And maybe even your philosophy as well on life. All right, so that's the sextile Thursday. Mercury does trine up to the North Node. So I think you'll be learning more about yourself this week, Leo. And I think this is about independence, as it has been. The North Node in the first house, it's such an excellent time for you to be independent. Do your thing, learn more about that. Learn more about your personal needs, your goals, and there can be some positive energy there. Mercury in your fifth house is helping you express yourself. In fact, over the weekend, Mercury sextiling Neptune does give you a bit of flow with this self-expression, whether it's just an opportunity, but whether it's having fun, whether it's doing some hobbies, some interests, some creative things, anything close to the heart. Okay, this is what's really coming to the forefront with these easy aspects and Mercury in the fifth. And it could even be the fact that you could be enjoying a bit of the resources, the simple life, which is Mercury who rules your second. In fact, Jupiter in your second, this is where the opportunities are. They have been for at least 6 months now. So good opportunities for saving, good opportunities for finances, for investing, or at the very least, maybe just feeling inspired because you have a greater sense of self-worth, self-reliance. All right, so that's where the opportunities are. That's Jupiter. And Jupiter will even be sextiling that conjunction between your Sun and Saturn later in the week. So when it comes to Friday and Saturday, I think because this is your ruler going over Saturn, yes, over the weekend, it's good to take the disciplined approach, take the responsible approach to whatever this might be, because it's your ruler. It usually just emphasizes that it's about you. But it could have to do with maybe home things, family things, your health even, which is all fourth house matters. Or maybe just intuition, reflecting on things a bit. So whatever that is, if it's anything in particular, but just in general, I think having a bit of patience, having a bit of discipline, taking the responsible approach is a new chapter. It's about long-term gains versus short-term, enjoyments. And I think the more willing you are to do that, the more in alignment you are with it. It's neutral, but you're planting new seeds with this grounded approach to things. And as a result, I think over the coming weeks and months, you probably will see some new things coming from whatever this new disciplined approach is. Probably just with you in general. All right, so that's the aspects this week. Going into Monday, Mars will be going into your seventh. So next week, probably a bit more motivation and energy there with the relationship front. Your motivation energy levels will likely start to be picking up too as Mars makes his way to the top of the chart as well. But again, it's all relative. The Sun will be trining up to Uranus going into Monday. So yeah, from this new chapter or this continued new stuff here with your roots, a bit of freedom probably going into next week. And again, it's about the freedom of depth, of openness, of vulnerability, which is what Uranus has really been showing you. So Leo, the way I would sum this up is that, yes, there's a new chapter, great time there to be establishing those roots. That's probably the strongest energy, astrologically speaking. All right, but it is about reserve. It is about patience there. Great time to be enjoying the work this week. You'll notice that's new. There's a shift there. That's the value there you can be deriving from those everyday experiences. Still motivating with Mars and Mercury in the fifth. I think expressing yourself, having a bit of fun in the routine, the everyday experiences, and just learning more about it in general. All right, Leo, so have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. All right, Virgo. So let's go ahead and have a look here at your chart for this week. So the first thing that stands out to me is that your ruler Mercury is in the fourth house. So I think there's certainly an emphasis on the home life or the family life, maybe reflecting on things a bit, maybe for some of you, your health. So still great to be focused on that. Again, Mercury is going to be well aspected this week. So there's a lot of easy energy or just, flowing, a bit of flow there with those roots and with your intuition as well, in fact. And then, of course, this early part of the week, like I was saying, we're in the first quarter phase. And this is all in regards to learning, You know, you've had your sun recently shift into your third house. That was the location of the new moon. So to be gaining energy, gaining life force and prana, it's so good to be focused on learning, whether it's reading a book, whether it's writing a book, whether it's expressing yourself through word, through ideas, taking a course sometimes, maybe getting into business, okay? Whatever it's been, I think it has been in effect because Saturn's been here for about the past year and a half, but this has been more about the serious side to this and the patient, disciplined side to all this. So how can you take, this week, ask yourself, how can you take this disciplined approach to learning, to reading, to writing, whatever it is, usually practical stuff or business or whatever. And as a result, I think especially with the sun going over Saturn later in the week, yes, there's a new chapter with all of this. And it's for the long road. So it's about long-term enjoyments, long-term gains versus the short-term ones having to do with that. And with the sun who rules your 12th, you may even notice later in the week too, it's good to start this new chapter with presence, with acceptance, maybe doing some things that will help you relax more in life or work behind the scenes a bit or whatever it might be there. Okay, but it does take a bit of responsibility there. A bit of work sometimes with Saturn, but as a result, yes, it can be developing you spiritually. But I think as the second half of the week unfolds, there'll probably be a bit more support, a bit more flow with some of that. All right, so that's two key areas for you. One is the roots. That's your ruler in the fourth. Still good to move forward with that. Great opportunities. And your third house of learning or exchanging with others. Great source of energy, great to take the disciplined approach to whatever that might personally be. Venus shifting into Capricorn this beginning of the week is involving your fifth. So where I think you have been quite direct, maybe even quite motivated to express yourself lately, and you still will be this week, Venus comes into the fifth. So you could be enjoying maybe a bit of those hobbies, interests, having a bit of fun, playfulness. All of that can be nice. Maybe even too, when it comes to your finances and your resources, learning more about that, but maybe enjoying them or seeing the fun that you can have, maybe with healthy, with your healthy values, healthy spending, healthy enjoyment of things, sensual pleasures, the good life, basically the good meal, the hot bath, all that can be a great source of energy, self-expression there, maybe even the adventurous spirit as well. Venus rules your ninth. So that's a nice shift, but all in all, I think just expressing yourself, I think you'll find very enjoyable, maybe even creative as well. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, Mars does sextile up to Uranus. So this is, again, positive there for the self-expression. Also, maybe you're learning something new and different, something exciting there. Or again, something with the business. Mars rules the third. And maybe even with relationships. Uranus has been in your seventh, helping you have a bit of freedom in relationships. So maybe Tuesday and Wednesday, something new and different there, maybe motivating, whatever it might be, but definitely freeing, regardless of what it is. But yeah, maybe it is one-to-one connections or having to do with maybe someone bringing an idea to the forefront, something like that. Mercury, your ruler, trines up to the North Node on Thursday. So this is a reminder that yes, this whole life path this year next is about you finding that peace in life. Your North Node's in the 12th, maybe working behind the scenes, getting some R&R. This is where you can be growing and expanding. Okay, so with your ruler trine, North Node, Thursday, maybe good for that R&R. Maybe you're just finding a bit of flow, or maybe you just have a bit more acceptance in life in general, which again could be a positive force for not only peace in your life, but also this intuitive, reflective, these roots that are continuously moving forward for you right now. All right, Friday and Saturday, like I said, that conjunction with the Sun and Saturn, that's in the third new chapter with discipline, learning or communication or using your mind in practical ways. And then your ruler Mercury sextiles up to Neptune around the same time, Friday, Saturday. Again, giving a bit of flow there with the roots in your life. Now, Mercury is also your career, I do want to mention. So with your ruler in good aspect, I would say particularly over the weekend, maybe something new and different, something fresh and different about the career front. Maybe it's internal, again, maybe an idea, something like that. And it's really about merging the two, your home life and your career right now. It's like something's merging between them. Okay, maybe it's more intuitive into your career, more personal into your career, Or maybe your home life is becoming a bit more productive in that sense too. Either or both, that kind of thing. All right, Virgo, so that's the week in a nutshell. Next week, Mars will be going into Aquarius, so you'll probably notice a shift towards the routine, the motivations for those matters, and your work, probably. And then the Sun trines Uranus, giving more positive support there for the learning going into next week as well. Maybe something new and different there. Again, maybe involving relationships, which is where things have been, about freedom, about new things. And yeah, that can be exciting if you're open to that. So the way I would sum up this week, Virgo, is that yes, there's a new chapter. It's all about practical learning and exchanging. It's an excellent week to challenge yourself with that. Be patient with it. See what can come from the long-term approach to all that. All right, Mercury in the 4th, still a great time for those roots and reflection, intuition, health, connecting to your body, those types of things. And Venus in the 5th, enjoying a bit of the self-expression, which is still motivating this week. Okay, direct self-expression, but here it's like tactfulness now. It's about mutuality, harmony there with it. And then let's not forget too, Jupiter's in your 1st house. So as it has been this past at least 6 months, it's been a really good time for you to just be expanding your horizons in general. Tapping into that adventurous spirit a bit can go a long ways, as it has been already, especially with Jupiter in a sextile up to the Sun this week. All right, Virgo, so have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. All right, Libras, let's go ahead and have a look here what we've got this week. So the first thing that's very important is that your ruler is a shifting sign. Venus is going into your 4th house. So this is placing an emphasis on what I think already has been a bit emphasized, which is your home life, maybe your family life, maybe reflecting on things a bit, and your health. But I think you'll definitely notice a shift this week if you haven't, because you have had Mars there, which has maybe been motivating you in regards to those things, or you've been maybe a bit more direct there, maybe establishing relationships or seeing the value of these roots. But Venus is really going to emphasize that even more. All right, so very good there. You may notice too, your energy levels may be at a bit of a low. Mars at the bottom of the chart, the Sun's only in the 2nd house, and your ruler's at the bottom. So as it typically kind of is a little bit later in the year, this let's say ending of one year and the beginning of next, it's like that because of the solar cycle. So yeah, nothing new there, but I would definitely be using this week as a good time to maybe spend some time with family, maybe reflect on things a bit, maybe spend some time at home, stuff like that. I think you can find flowing, enjoyable, and that's where the value is, that's where the motivation is, which is Mars. Now this week, of course, this is all in relation to the new beginnings, which started a week ago or last week. And this was in regards to your values. You had a new moon in your 2nd house. So like I was saying, it's good this week to challenge yourself. And the way you can really challenge yourself is with cultivating and building these values of yours. If it's material values, then maybe it's investments, maybe it's savings, stuff like that. But at the very least, it's internal in the sense that this is about your self-reliance. This is about your sense of self-worth, and building that and establishing that, even though it may feel limited or more serious because it's Saturn. As you take that responsible approach there, as time goes on, yes, you can certainly be building these values of yours. And it's just an excellent week to be initiating that. All right, Tuesday and Wednesday, Mars will be sextiling Uranus. So that's positive support there going into the root sector, into the home, family, and health. That area is going to be well aspected this week regardless. But yeah, maybe something new and different there. Maybe something new and different with relationships. It's quite possible. Mars rules your 7th house. Maybe even with your values, finances, and material stuff. Something new and different there. All right, collectively exciting. Maybe it has to do with the work. Maybe it has to do with the routine. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday. Mercury trines the North Node as a reminder that there's still a lot to learn about your aspirations, and it's just the time to be cultivating your aspirations, even all of next year. This is the undercurrent. This is the life path taking you towards those personal future things of yours. hopes, wishes, whatever it might be. Some of you too may be networking and connecting to friends or community. All right, so Thursday, maybe something in regards to that, but maybe just some learning about that can go a long ways. All right, Friday through Saturday, the sun does conjoin up to Saturn. Again, that new chapter there with the responsible approach. It could even be a new chapter too, Friday and Saturday, in regards to those aspirations, but it's about patience here. It's about the long road. And again, maybe about group things or community things. But the sextile to Jupiter does help you see opportunities that it has been such a good time these past 6 months to be maybe working a bit behind the scenes or getting a bit of reflection time, intuitive time, which is Jupiter in the 12th. Should be plenty of opportunities to do that and maybe expand spiritually as well, or learn more about yourself psychologically as well. Then Friday and Saturday, Mercury sextiles Neptune. Again, positive energy there going into the third house of learning. Actually, I don't think we talked about this, did we? Mercury in the third has been and will be this week still a great time to be learning. Whether it's reading books, whether it's writing books, you sharing ideas. Could be good for business, the marketplace, things like that. Seeing the potentials there. Mercury rules your ninth. Okay, but Friday and Saturday, maybe a bit of flow with that. Maybe a bit of flow with your self-expression, in fact, too. Maybe feeling a little adventurous, or maybe getting a bit of R&R. All right, so that's the week in a nutshell, Libra. Going into next week, Sunday and Monday, Mars will be going into your fifth, so that'll be placing an emphasis on your self-expression next week. And the sun will be trining up to Uranus, which does suggest that, there'll be more, I think, things unfolding there with your values, maybe with the finances, but again, your sense of self-worth, which is what this week is really helping you build. I mean, that's the lunar cycle, that's the conjunction with Saturn and the sun. So taking all that seriously, I think you can see some fruits in the long term. Maybe not this week, maybe not next month, but in the long term. So, but a lot of it will be from what you're building now, whether it's internal resilience, internal self-reliance, or external, saving, investing, whatever that might be for you. Mercury in the third, great for learning, sharing, exchanging. The practical stuff in life is emphasized. And your ruler, Venus, in the fourth, really good time to be reflecting on matters, maybe spending some time with home and family. Okay, could even be meaningful there, which is Venus, who does rule that 8th house of yours. All right, so Libras, have a fantastic week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. All right, Scorpio and Ophiuchus. Let's go ahead and have a look here, what we've got this week. So the first thing is, first of all, happy birthday for those of you Ophiuchuses out there who've got your birthdays this week, who are watching for your sun sign. But in either case, for all of you, whether you're watching this for your sun, moon, or ascendant, you've all got the sun in your first house. So still a great time to be focusing on your personal needs and a bit of independence. And that's really what this whole lunar cycle is about. You know, it's about you. It's about your goals. It's about even your self-image, perhaps. Now, you have had Saturn in the first house, so this has been over about the past year and a half more of a serious thing. In other words, it's been a really good time for you to be taking a responsible approach to life. You know, taking your responsibilities seriously, maybe a bit of patience. You know, you're basically becoming more mature in the sense that obviously we're all mature to a point, but we can always become more mature, more grounded, more disciplined, more like a master. And that's really what this week is emphasizing, not only from that lunar cycle, which is really good to be challenging yourself with your goals, with your personal needs, but how you can take the long road approach to that, the patient approach. So you're building your personal needs, you're building your goals, you're building your independence one step at a time. And you may not notice anything coming this week. I think a lot of you will. But this is the point here, is that this is a long-term energy. Okay, this is Saturn. Especially when the sun conjoins Saturn later in the week, around Friday and Saturday, setting this new chapter about discipline, about patience. A lot of it might have to do with your career. In fact, the sun does rule your 10th house, and that's where the North Node has been. Everything's been sort of pulling you towards that career front there. All right, but just generally with it all in your first house, a new chapter in this whole week, I think, yeah, patience, responsibility really does go a long ways. All right, so let's not forget your ruler, Mars, is in the third house and will be this whole week. So still a great time to be learning. In fact, Venus will be coming into this third house on Tuesday. So really putting an emphasis on learning, maybe doing some writing, sharing of information, placing an emphasis on communication, and yeah, just getting into the practical side of life. For some of you, maybe it's business or trade or the marketplace, something like that as well. Maybe communicating things in a direct way has been important with Mars, you know, in the third. But Venus comes in here, it's a bit more tactful, it's a bit more enjoyable. Maybe you're enjoying picking up that book. Maybe you're enjoying having that conversation or whatever it is. Yeah, and Venus does rule that seventh of yours. Could be even easygoing there. And maybe even your routine too. It's like you're learning more about the routine, and maybe that's more practical also. All right, so that's a big emphasis there, the third house. It's all about learning. It's about sharing. Maybe even connecting to siblings or your peers. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, that Mars does sextile up to Uranus, so could be feeling quite freeing, actually, Tuesday and Wednesday. Maybe a bit of motivation there to learn, to read, to exchange. Maybe to express yourself. That's been Uranus in the fifth. Maybe even to try something new and different with your routine, in fact. Or maybe new and different with you. Maybe with that self-image, quite possible. Maybe some new goals, some new motivations. All right, it's just an opening for that. Thursday, Mercury does trine the North Node. So again, emphasis on the career as there has been as an undercurrent to life. Mercury is in your second, so you can be learning a lot about your values right now. So that's good. Could be practical, could be getting into the nitty-gritty with the finances or the investing, things like that. Your mind's there, so you have the good rational, practical approach to those matters. In fact, Mercury will be sextiling Neptune Friday and Saturday, so there is a bit of flow when it comes to the values this week or the finances over the weekend. Maybe you're just more easygoing about it. Maybe there's something new. Maybe you just have a greater sense of self-worth. You're just willing to go with the flow there. Self-reliance. And then Friday and Saturday is that conjunction over the weekend. So with the new beginning, which is what a conjunction is in this first house of yours, yeah, it's about Saturn. It's about patience. It's taking time. And that will be sextiling up to Jupiter. So Jupiter in your 11th has been that it's just such a good time to be focusing on your aspirations in general. Future things, hopes, wishes maybe. And all of that is directly supporting all of this ambition or goals or just whatever it is you're doing responsibly here. Okay, so that's good. See those opportunities, expand your mind to what's possible in the future. That's all positive inspiration. Even too, like of the 11th house, this is about groups and friends and networks or connecting with your community. That could be positive as well. All right, so Scorpio and Ophiuchus, that is the week in a nutshell. Next week, Mars will be going into your fourth, so you'll probably be placing an emphasis on home, family, and health. The Sun will be trining up to Uranus. Again, more positive freedom there with the goals or whatever it is that you might be starting this week or what is within you being built. You know, that's patience and discipline there. But the way I would sum up this week is, yes, continuous new beginnings with you, especially in that long-term approach. Mercury in the second house, helping you learn more about your values and maybe getting into the details of those. And your ruler in the third, Venus in the third, enjoying a bit of communication, exchanging, enjoying a bit of reading, writing. All this mental, practical, communicative stuff looks very enjoyable now with Venus coming in here, but it's already been quite emphasized. All right, so Scorpio and Ophiuchus, have a great week. Thanks for watching. All right, Sagittarius, let's go ahead and have a look here at what's in store this week in your chart. So this whole solar lunar cycle has been started in your 12th house. So it is a very receptive time for you. You know, in about a week, next week, I believe, or if not, right after next week, your sun's going to be shifting into Sagittarius, your sign. So you'll probably be noticing at that point a bit more of like the goals, the ambitions, forward moving stuff. Although, I think your mind is on that, which is good. You got Mercury in the first house, maybe feeling quite communicative or learning, or maybe the routine's emphasized. Maybe relationships are emphasized, which can be good, and even your career as well. But with the Sun and Saturn in the 12th, this is, this whole new chapter now about this patient and disciplined approach to your, let's say, spiritual health or your psychological health, or, in other words, to find peace and tranquility in life, which really comes through acceptance. But in order to do the acceptance, we do have to go through all the deeper things, and to just be and to let go and surrender. To surrender everything that's outside of our immediate control. And that's the real definition of relaxation. That's the real definition of tranquility, when we are no longer have those burdens in life, and we're willing to let go and find peace. So however that's been manifesting for you, you've had Saturn in the 12th, so hopefully you have been taking that stuff seriously. Whatever it is, spirituality for some of you, maybe psychology for some of you. Maybe it's just getting more R&R or whatever it is. Maybe working a bit behind the scenes. Maybe your career has been more emphasized in that with Saturn. So whatever it's been, now the conjunction with the Sun, and really this whole week, because we'll be in the lunar cycle with it, it's just good to be patient with this and take the responsible approach. So yes, you can have more tranquility. You can have more, presence in your life. But it takes time with Saturn. So yeah, so that's where the patience comes in. But this week, setting some new seeds there. Some new foundations, taking the responsible approach is very supportive. Now, Venus will be going into the second on Tuesday. So where I think you have been perhaps motivated towards your values or finances or resources, that kind of a thing, Venus goes into this area. So you can be attracting these resources now, these values, maybe the financial, the material. Maybe maybe finding some solutions and working on the nitty-gritty of the values. Okay, whether they're material or otherwise. And most fundamentally, this is about your sense of self-worth and your self-reliance. So good positive energy there, not only with the motivation, but also maybe just connecting to that side of yourself. Connecting to your natural gifts, your natural abilities, and that self-reliance there. And maybe even seeing the value of your routine, your work, even seeing the value of friends and your future aspirations and things like that. All right, so that's Venus. Mars will be sextiling up to Uranus Tuesday and Wednesday. So yes, there is positive support into the second house. Maybe a new idea, maybe something new and different, maybe an opportunity there having to do with values. Maybe all in all, you're just feeling a bit more, self-reliance, a bit more comfortable there, maybe a bit more self-expressive, in fact. And easygoing to a degree there with that, because Mars does rule your 12th house also, and your 5th. And this is a Uranus in your 4th, which has been about freedom in your home life or your family life. So maybe something exciting, something new and different there as well. Just an opening, but it's really supporting the emotional, the reflective, the home, family, and supporting your values, finances, material, investments, things like that, the self-expression, and a bit of that calm and tranquility. Thursday, Mercury trines the North Node as a reminder that this year, next year, is about adventure as an undercurrent to expand your horizons, whether it's through philosophy or going for more walks, expanding your horizons that way, through travel or things like that. Okay, so whatever that is, could be a good day on Thursday in particular to open your minds more, open your horizons more. You could be learning a lot about that. Friday and Saturday is that conjunction with the Sun and Saturn, this new chapter about that spirituality, that presence, that acceptance, which is so important. It does sextile Jupiter, that conjunction, so as there has been, it could be directly supporting the career or the productive life. In fact, that's where the opportunities are with Jupiter. So yes, see those potentials, see those possibilities there. That can be inspiring. And then Mercury sextiles Neptune, so you could be feeling maybe easygoing over the weekend with the patience. There's also easygoingness and flow. Maybe it's about communication, maybe it's about relationships, maybe it's about career, or all of the above. And then as we go into next week, Mars will go into your third, placing more of an emphasis on communication and learning. And then the Sun does trine up to Uranus Monday next week, giving a bit of support there where you probably be feeling quite freeing, maybe as a result of whatever this new discipline, patient stuff is with these behind the scenes things in the 12th. Okay, so Sagittarius, the way I would sum this up is definitely a new chapter about the spiritual side, the tranquil side to life. It's still a time of rest or a time of reflection or intuition. Once your sun goes into the first, then it's, a lot of your birthdays if you're watching for your sun sign, but sun's in the first, that's the same kind of energy, whether it's your moon or ascendant. So to do that though, we do have to go through the 12th, which is rest, which is allowing our energy levels to die down and maybe create a bit of space in your life. So you do have room for those new beginnings. But still thinking about that is great. Relationships are great. Career, a lot of emphasis there with Mercury in the first. And Venus and Mars in your second. Really good for those values. All right, attracting those values to you. Learning more about what you value. Maybe it has to do with work. Maybe it has to do with your aspirations. Mars here, helping motivate you as it has been to put some energy into those values, whether internal or external. All right, Sagittarius, have a great week. Thanks for watching. All right, Capricorns. So let's go ahead and have a look here what we've got this week. So your ruler is going to be conjoined by the Sun Friday and Saturday, and the Sun being in the 11th has already been placing a big emphasis on your 11th. This is the house of your aspirations. This is the house of future possibilities. Okay, your hopes, your wishes, things like that. For some of you, it has to do with your community, sense of community, friends, network circles, things like that. So whatever it is, it has been good for you to be taking this seriously, of course, with Saturn up there in the 11th. That's been the best year and a half. But the Sun's here now and conjoining your ruler. I think there's a new chapter with all this week. It's a good week to challenge yourself there, to maybe take some initiation, some actions with those aspirations. And maybe you feeling quite expressive even too, or something motivating you. The Sun going over your ruler does give a bit of focus, gives a bit of self-expression, a bit of playfulness, fun, or just creativity in general. Okay, so that'll be increasing as the week unfolds. And as the week unfolds too, you'll feel a bit more support and momentum probably in regards to those aspirations or community-related things. Now, Venus does go into your sign right at the beginning of the week on Tuesday. So where there has been, I think, a lot of emphasis on maybe enjoying a bit of the R&R, and that'll still be somewhat the case. You still have Mercury in the 12th, which I'll talk about, but Venus in the first. This is very good for your values in life, emphasizing values, maybe the material life, good meal, relaxation, enjoying the simple pleasures, finances, maybe the relationships, okay, can be emphasized with Venus in the first. I think all in all, most fundamentally, you'll probably be having a bit of fun. Venus rules your fifth, maybe your hobbies, your interests, self-expression, creative, and then probably placing more of an emphasis on your work, your career particularly, your productive life, okay, over the coming weeks with Venus in that first. And Mars in your first has already been helping you take some motivation, some steps, maybe be direct in your life, maybe cultivate your independence. So that's going to continue this week as it has been. It's also already been placing an emphasis on aspirations, which is really good because Mars rules the 11th, and maybe your home life, right? Spending time at home or with family, that's also been emphasized, and I think will continue this week. Now, Tuesday and Wednesday, that Mars will be sextiling up to Uranus, so maybe something new and different about these goals, about these aspirations, or about home and family, or all of the above. maybe about your health even too. Okay, so it's just an opening for that. Maybe it's about what you're learning, or some new ideas, or communicating, or sharing with others. That's Uranus in the third. Okay, so as you open up to what you're learning, open up to exchanging ideas and all this, can be very freeing. And that freeing energy directly supporting those aspirations, directly supporting your personal goals, and even the home, family, and health stuff as well. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Mercury will be trining up to the North Node on Thursday as a reminder that, yes, this whole time, this year and even next year, is about getting deep. All right, this is your North Node in the 8th house, getting open with life, vulnerable with life, open with yourself, vulnerable with yourself. So this is very supportive Thursday, and there can be something new here, quite possibly, helping you connect on that deeper level. Or maybe it's about shared resources. Maybe it's others' finances or something like that, something you're learning about that, something supportive with all that. And this is a Mercury in your 12th, so it is a very intuitive time still for you. And I think when it does come to the routine and all this, it is good to have a bit of this relaxation or see where you can have a bit more presence in your everyday experiences. Even to, intuitive, like, the information you get is coming from the ethers or your dreams or from within. So listening, your intuition could be very strong at the moment with Mercury there. And Mercury is well aspected. Even Friday and Saturday, Mercury will be sextiling up to Neptune, suggesting even more so, because Neptune's all about intuition. Neptune's all about that flow. All right, so all this easygoingness, I think about the routine this week, particularly over the weekend, maybe about self-improvement, growth, your self-improvement of like your work too, developing your crafts, whatever you're doing on a daily level, a bit of flow there. And then Friday and Saturday, that conjunction. So definitely a new chapter there with the aspirations. Taking all that seriously can be great. And then, the sun, maybe feeling creative, expressive, maybe passionate, exciting, but also real and raw and deep, because the sun does rule that 8th house of yours. Okay, so maybe it is about the real deep truths of life, or maybe it is about shared resources, others' resources, that kind of thing. New chapter with all that. Mercury, we talked about that. Mercury sextiles Neptune. So that's the week in a nutshell, Capricorn. Going into Monday, Mars is going to go into Aquarius. So you'll probably feel a bit more motivation next week towards the financial, material stuff, quite possibly. Maybe that greater sense of self-reliance. And then the sun does trine up to Uranus going into Monday too. So again, positive support there going into those aspirations. So the way I would sum this up is, yes, continuous new beginnings with these future things, these possibilities, your hopes, your wishes. That's great. That's continuing to move forward. But of course, not without the responsibility. But that's nothing new to you Capricorns. This is what Saturn's all about. That's what you're all about. Taking the slow and steady approach. So great, because that's what makes things long lasting. That's what makes things real and raw. So as you do that, as you take that, that responsibility and the patience there, you're building something real. I think it's going to be in a yearly cycle, and even for the next couple of years with Saturn still in that 11th. About those aspirations of yours. So that's the strongest emphasis for you. Venus in the first, though, looking good, feeling good, maybe sprucing up the self-image, connecting with those relationships, expressing yourself, having a bit of fun, and the career all being emphasized. All right, and then Mercury in that 12th, intuitive, listening, inner guidance, learning more about yourself psychologically, spiritually even, in your dream space. All right, so Capricorn, have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. All right, Aquarius, let's go ahead and have a look here and see what's going on this week. All right, so this whole lunar cycle, last week you had a new moon in your 10th house of career and of your productive life, and that's where your ruler is Saturn. So yes, a great week to challenge yourself here with long-term goals, whether it's your career, whether it's your productive life, your public life, but anything that does require the the long-term approach. So that's what the 10th house is about. That's what Saturn's about already, helping you take that stuff seriously. So if you have been feeling this past year and a half roughly like maybe limited, maybe there's limitation, but this can turn into healthy limitation, where when you're willing to take the patient approach to the career, to the long-term productive stuff, whatever it is, you're going to find you're in alignment with that, and then you're building. And that's exactly what this week is about. It's about building that career, being patient with it, and seeing the long road, but maybe even initiating, taking some steps, because again, this is where the whole new beginning is. All right, and you can see things come to fruition here, maybe next week when we have the full moon, but if not in the short term, then maybe in the next 6 months. Or maybe it'll take a little longer because it's Saturn, it takes time, but the stuff you build now is staying with you, with that initiation, with that intention. Now, Venus does shift into your 12th house here on Tuesday, so I think you can be enjoying a bit of maybe working behind the scenes a bit, maybe getting a bit of R&R, resting a bit, maybe meditating, things like that can be very enjoyable, learning more about yourself spiritually and psychologically even. All right, and this has already been transforming you because you've had Mars in the 12th. And even too, I want to mention that Mars, who does rule that career of yours, in the 12th, it's still supposed to be an uncertain time with all this productive and career stuff. So it's supposed to be more of an intuitive process right now. Or maybe how you can create a career or change your career, make some changes, whatever, to implement a bit more of that soul into your career. So it's more in alignment with your soul. Or giving nature, that kind of a thing. This is all 12th house. But that's all going to shift next week once Mars goes into your sign. There will be a lift, I think, next week, where there'll probably be a bit more clarity and not so much of the receptive thing going on with the career. And even with your mind too, because Mars does rule your 3rd house. So it's all supposed to be intuitive. Still a good time to, get that presence, acceptance in life. And Venus will help you enjoy all that, in fact. Okay? And you should have some opportunities there to do that. Venus is also your 4th house ruler, so it could have to do with home or family. And it could also to do with a bit of adventure, maybe going for a walk or doing some hiking, or I don't know, it's winter time for a lot of us, so maybe reading a book about philosophy, spirituality, things like that. It could be very enjoyable, but very peaceful, I think, most importantly. All right, so that's Venus. That Mars will be sextiling up to Uranus, your modern day ruler. So it's very possible Tuesday and Wednesday you could be feeling quite motivated, quite freeing, even though, again, it's about getting things done in a more receptive way. That's the other side to Mars in the 12th, is that, yeah, you can be getting a lot done, but it's by finding that current, that current of life, and detaching and letting go and just seeing where things take you. So there's a bit of flow with that. I think you're willing to do that. Tuesday and Wednesday can be exciting and different. Maybe you get a greater sense of self-worth, self-reliance. Maybe there is an opportunity with the career stuff because Mars does rule the 10th. Something new there, or something, I don't know. It's just something presenting itself. It might have to do with the where you can have a bit more acceptance and tranquility in your life. Might have to do with your values, might have to do with finances, these types of things. And then all in all, it might be an idea. In fact, Mars ruling your 3rd, you may just have a new idea. That could be some sort of opportunity or something like that. It can be exciting. Mercury does trine the North Node Thursday. So there is a reminder that this whole life path this year and next year is really about relationships. Right? Establishing those one-to-one connections. And Mercury trine the North Node is also likewise supporting the fact that your mind is on your aspirations. Or maybe it's on your community or friends or groups. That's great. There's a lot to learn in that department as well. You could even be expressing yourself in the groups with Mercury. Mercury rules your 5th. Maybe it's even quite deep and real and raw and vulnerable there. Or maybe your aspirations are about creativity. Maybe your aspirations are about the deeper things in life. But all in all, I think as you think about and cultivate, work on the details of, and just really just learn from the side of life, which is about community, is about aspirations. I think that's a very good supportive element, especially Friday and Saturday when Mercury sextiles Neptune. Maybe some of those things are easygoing. Expressing yourself easily. Maybe the friends and groups, something new there could be relaxing, or those aspirations. All right, and then Friday and Saturday is going to be that conjunction where your ruler does conjoin the sun. So Friday and Saturday, you could be maybe feeling creative because this is the sun over the ruler. So this is creativity, perhaps, expressing yourself, definitely emphasized. Maybe even a new chapter about relationships, in fact. About discipline here. About patience here. About maybe some of you commitment and responsibility when it comes to relationships all over the weekend. New chapter with all this. Okay? But maybe generally a new chapter, something new with relationships, quite possible, with the sun over a ruler like that. All right, so Aquarius, that's the week in a nutshell. Next week, Mars will be going into your sign. So you'll probably, like I said, feel that shift from where your energy levels and all that will probably be moving forward there, where there's a bit more about your personal needs and your independence. Venus in the 12th this week, still great to be enjoying that alone time, the rest and relaxation. You'll feel this probably Tuesday and Wednesday shift. Okay, and then Mercury in the 11th, helping you learn more about aspirations and future things and the importance of community and networking, friends. But the main emphasis is on the 10th house of career, or the productive life, which has already been emphasized, but this is where the energy is, this is where the focus is, and the new beginnings being cultivated there, both in the short term and the long term. But most importantly, this is the long term, patience, responsibility. All right, Aquarius, have a great week. Thanks for watching. All right, Pisces. All right, let's have a look this week. See what we've got going on. So the most important thing that stands out to me is that we had last week that new moon that was in your 9th house. Okay, and this is the house of possibilities. It's the house of your belief systems. It's the house of your adventurousness. And all this is more serious though, because you've got, Saturn in the 9th, which can make it feel maybe quite limited, or it takes work, it takes responsibility, what is normally an area of the sky, which is about spirit and inspiration and all this more expansive stuff. Saturn comes in here and makes sure that those things that you do aspire for, these belief systems, these potentials, this adventurousness, even philosophy and spirituality and all these things that expand your mind, and university or whatever else, it does take work. Okay, it does take work, it does take responsibility, and that's really what this week is emphasizing, because of the fact that the sun will be going over Saturn, starting a new chapter with all this, and of course that's the whole new moon. So this first half and even the second half of the week, challenge yourself with where you can. Yes, expand your horizons. Yes, see what's possible. Maybe learn some philosophy or higher learning stuff. Maybe do some adventurousness, travel, or something like that. But take the responsible, patient, disciplined approach. Okay, and with that perspective, I think what you'll find is that as the coming months unfold, because this is a solar cycle here, yes, you will see some bits and things being built, but it takes time. And that's what Saturn's all about. And it may not even be over the next few months, maybe not until about a year and a half when Saturn leaves that, actually about a year when Saturn leaves that 8th or that 9th house of yours. Okay, but whatever it is, it's being built. So just be patient with yourself, take the responsible approach there, build the life path. That's what the 9th house is about. What inspires you? What are those belief systems? What expands your horizons? Take all that seriously and build it. But I think when you approach it like that, yes, you will see things coming to fruition there. And this is nice too, because actually the conjunction is going to be sextiling up to your ruler Jupiter. And that sextile is going to be all week and even going into the rest of the month. To where I think you are seeing the potentials here. You are a bit disciplined. You are willing to be patient there with all that, which is really good. And this is a lot of what's going on, is that it's been at a time particularly I think the past 6 months, with Jupiter in that 7th of relationships. So continue to connect to relationships, new and existing ones. There's a lot to enjoy about all that. Okay, a lot of opportunities coming through people, and then also opportunities to connect to new and existing relationships. So at the beginning of the week, though, Venus is going to be shifting into your 11th house, which has already been emphasized. This is the house of your aspirations and of community or group stuff. So Mars here has already been helping you maybe be quite direct, to maybe pursue some of those aspirations, maybe quite direct and pursue some group things or community things. But now Venus comes in here and kind of lightens it up. Or I think you will be wanting to or enjoying perhaps a bit of community or connecting with your friends, seeing the value of all that, and then of pursuing your aspirations. And your mind might be on that. Venus rules your 3rd. I think you've already been seeing the value with all that. Actually, Mars rules your 2nd. And a lot of the adventure stuff we're talking about, it is about those aspirations. It is about maybe community or something like that, depending on your personal chart. Might be aspirations, might be community, something like that. Okay, so those two areas in good harmony this week. In fact, Tuesday and Wednesday, Mars will be sextiling up to Uranus from your 1st. So yes, Tuesday and Wednesday, maybe something new and different about aspirations, maybe about community, maybe about values, maybe about finances, maybe about that adventurous spirit. Tuesday and Wednesday, something new and different, it's just an opportunity there. Might be exciting involving those areas. Thursday, Mercury does trine up to the North Node as a reminder that this whole life path, this year, next year, this undercurrent is taking you towards your work, your routine, your self-improvement. Okay, that's the North Node and the 6th. Could be learning a lot about that. There could be a lot of support, in fact, for those things. Then Friday and Saturday, Mercury sextiles up to Neptune. This is your modern ruler, so you could be feeling like, quite inquisitive, maybe learning, reading, writing, things like that, maybe communicative over the weekend. But I think, too, maybe there's just a bit of flow. And a bit of flow with maybe relationships, maybe with your home, family, and health sectors, which is what Mercury rules. And Mercury in your 10th house is that your mind is on your career and your productive life. So it's an excellent week and even weekend to work on the details of the career. Do some learning about some of those things. Maybe continue with some relationships that you could be building with your career as well. And how your home life fits into that, or your personal life fits into that, and vice versa. How's this productive energy fit into your personal life and finding that balance? All right, that's Mercury there up in the 10th. And then, of course, Friday and Saturday, that conjunction with Saturn and the Sun. New beginnings with how you can take the disciplined approach to expanding those horizons of yours. All right, and the next week, Mars does go into your 12th, so I think next week will be a bit more receptive in nature, maybe motivated to get some R&R. The Sun does trine up to Uranus on Monday, so again, more positive support there into expanding your horizons. And this is Uranus, who, just like that sextile up to Mars early in the week, this is about being who you are. Okay, it's an excellent week for that. I think you'll find that very supportive in general. So anyways, Pisces, this week, the emphasis is certainly on new beginnings with those belief systems, with expanding those horizons in a nice, slow and steady, grounded way. All right, it's about discipline. It's about the future gains versus short-term gains, but being in the present moment with all that, of course. All right, and just knowing things come in time. Venus going into your 11th house, placing more value and connection there with your aspirations, with community. Your mind's on the career, great there to continue with that productive life. And then, yeah, the opportunities and you in general, just still great in the bigger picture to be connecting with those relationships. All right, Pisces, so have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.